Welcome to CJWinter How-To video series. Here at CJWinter, we provide better tools, fast delivery, great service, and value.
Before beginning setup, make sure you have all the following items: the attachment, the thread rolls, all wedges, wedge rollers, and roll arm return springs, a set of Allen wrenches, and your instruction manual. Open the manual to Section 5 and refer to the thread rolling capacity and reference data charts. Find the attachment model you have, pick out the corresponding thread size you wish to roll, and select the thread rolls necessary for that application. Now select the correct size wedges, wedge rollers, and return springs. For your convenience, the wedge and wedge rollers have been stamped with part numbers and sizes, and the springs have been color-coded for easy identification. To select the proper combination, first view the set of wedges, wedge rollers, and return springs already installed in your attachment. If these parts are not the correct size needed for your application, replace them with the necessary size parts. After selecting the correct parts, begin installation by removing the cap screws and idler gear guard off of each roll arm. Loosen the fulcrum pin set screws and remove the fulcrum pin and idler gear from each roll arm. While being careful not to overextend the roll arm return spring, remove the roll arm assemblies from the attachment. If you need to change the wedge rollers or roll arm spring, loosen the wedge roller pin set screw and remove the wedge roller pin, the wedge roller, and the roll arm return spring. Now, install the correct wedge roller and roll arm return spring. Make sure to align the retention flat on the pin, insert the pin, and tighten the set screw. At this point, each end of the wedge roller pin must be flush or below the sides of the roll arm. If you need to install a different wedge, begin by directing a short burst of air into the quick disconnect sockets located at the rear of the attachment. This will push the piston to the full forward position. Loosen the wedge adapter pin set screw and remove the pin along with the wedge. Reinsert the wedge adapter pin. Make sure to align the retention flat on the pin under the set screw. The wedge adapter pin must be flush or below the wedge adapter. Now, tighten the set screw. Direct another short burst of air into the quick disconnect sockets located at the front of the attachment and push the piston to the full backward position. Before reinstalling the roll arms into the roll arm bracket, inspect the compensator gears. They may need to be cleaned or replaced. To remove the gears, first take off the gear center guard. Loosen the adjusting collar cap screw. Using snap ring pliers, remove the C-ring from the end of the shaft. 2 set screws are used to secure the gear shaft. Remove the outside screw. The inside screw, which keys the shaft, should be removed next. The compensator can now be disassembled. Since the compensator spring retainer houses 2 opposing springs under pressure, slowly remove the adjusting collar and cover plate. Remove both gears from the bushing for inspection, cleaning, or replacement. After inspection, replace the gears in the bushing. Position the spring retainer on the external gear so that the set screw lines up with the key slot. Hold the shaft in position while replacing the inside set screw. Turn the set screw all the way down and then loosen it by turning back 1/4 turn. Now replace the outside set screw. Check both gears by rotating them. They should rotate without binding. Locate the spot where the two springs meet. The adjusting collar must be inserted in this spot between the springs. Replace the C-clip to hold the internal gear and tighten the adjusting collar cap screw. Finish by replacing the center guard over the compensator gears. While holding the roll arms in the bracket, install the fulcrum pin and idler gear in each roll arm. Make sure that the gear hubs face in opposite directions when reinstalling. Failure to follow this procedure will obstruct your ability to adjust the timing marks. Before installing the thread rolls, examine the carbide roll pin. Note that it's held in position between two set screws. There are two types of roll arm set screws, Type A and Type B. For Type A, one set screw is located on the inside portion of the roll arm assembly and is known as the taper adjusting set screw. This screw's position should not be changed when removing or installing the roll pins, since it affects the taper adjustment of the head. The second screw, located on the outside portion of the roll arm assembly, is known as the locking set screw and should be used when removing or installing roll pins. For Type B, the slotted taper adjusting screw is located in the front, and the locking set screw is located on the inside of the roll arm. All roll pins are supplied with a partial U-shaped retention flat and a full L-shaped flat. In order to install the roll pin, the full L-shaped flat must always be aligned with the taper adjusting set screw. If you have Type A and have loosened the outside set screw and the roll pin is still not free, your thread rolling attachment may have two set screws, one behind the other. If this is the case, remove the first set screw completely to gain access to the second set screw. Now remove the roll gear guard. Observe the positions of the roll gear washer, and the thrust washer or thrust bearing if applicable. Loosen the locking set screw and remove the roll pin. Notice that the roll pin can only be removed in one direction. This is due to the L-shaped flat. Next, install the thread roll while engaging the tangs of the roll gear in the thread roll drive slot. Make sure the roll gear washer is properly positioned between the roll gear and the thread roll. If applicable, the thrust washer must also be properly positioned on the locating pin or the thrust bearings installed in their counterbores. Reinstall the roll gear guards on both arms and rotate the compensator to check for any binding of the thread rolls or gear train. To initially set the correct distance between the thread rolls, direct a short burst of air into the rear quick disconnect socket. This will move the wedge to the full forward position. Check the distance between the thread rolls by using a gauge pin or gauge block. If the distance between the rolls is greater than the blank diameter, direct another burst of air to the front quick disconnect socket to return the attachment to the open position. Turn the pitch diameter adjustment knob at the rear of the attachment in the minus direction. Direct another burst of air to the rear quick disconnect socket and check the distance to the thread rolls again. Repeat this procedure until the thread rolls are at the proper distance. If the rolls are too close together before you start, simply turn the pitch diameter knob in the plus direction. Once the thread roll distance has been adjusted, synchronize the thread rolls by directing another short burst of air into the rear quick disconnect socket. The wedge should now be in the full forward position. Next, locate the timing marks on the thread rolls. These timing marks represent a recommended starting point and have been provided for your convenience. If you choose to use the provided timing marks, loosen the adjusting collar cap screw on the attachment compensator mechanism. While holding one roll, rotate the other roll until the timing marks point directly at each other. Securely tighten the adjusting collar cap screw. Rotate the compensator to make sure the timing marks come back to each other. Direct another burst of air to the front quick disconnect socket to return the attachment to the open position. If applicable, complete the bench setup by disassembling the power pack and bracket. This will make it easier when installing your attachment onto the machine.
Please visit us at www.cjwinter.com for additional information.